Here in this screen, that's actually our 10th block home. I'll talk a little bit more about why that home in particular is unique. Yeah, they're 230 square feet, 130 square feet of interior living space. I might be biased, and I would challenge anyone to find a more green tiny home or just home in general than the ones we're building. They are going to be certified by the International Living Future Institute, which is headquartered here in Seattle. Our homes are Living Building Challenge certified, which is the most green, rigorous building standard that exists in the world, pretty much. Um, but I guess I'll back up and just explain a little bit more about the model. Hosts volunteer their backyards for us to place a block home. Facing Homelessness owns the block home. We sign a 5-year ground lease agreement with the property owners to reserve the rights to the home. And thus we alleviate the landlord-tenant relationship from ever occurring between the property owner and the people actually living in the block homes themselves, and allow them to just be neighbors. Our residents, the people living in the block homes, are referred to us through 5 partnerships with different social case management agencies, and that is Chief Seattle Club, Mary's Place, Sound Health, Real Escape from Sex Traffic, and the last one is Lake City Partners. And so all our residents living in a block home don't just get placed in the block home and that's it. They have continued social services from their social case management provider. And we also have a companionship program. Facing Homelessness has over 2,000 volunteers, and a lot of them have volunteered to stay in touch with our residents on a weekly basis to provide companionship. And we're about to launch a resident errand support program where community comes even closer to be more involved with people living in our homes. And beyond providing the land and beyond providing companionship for our residents, our community members are also building the homes. I'll be really excited to share some more slides with you further on, but we built the first 9 homes with general contractors. And what's really special about this home here is it was entirely built by volunteers that didn't need to have carpentry experience. We have a prefabrication operation at a warehouse in Georgetown with the clever use of jigs. We're having volunteers who have never used a saw or a hammer before build modules, which are basically insulated panels that click together on site. I'm gonna just move through the slides, and I think that'll give some greater context because I'm just rambling a little bit right here about each piece of the block project and what makes it possible. So one major ingredient obviously is the home, and the home is the byproduct of all the things that I had been mentioning. Here you can see the floor plan of the home, and it's a very efficient use of space. We would love to build bigger block homes at some point, but obviously that would constrain us by the amount of backyards we can place block homes in. It's 130 square feet of interior space. And so basically with this floor plan, if you can see it, you'd walk through the entry door, and to the left is a toilet and a shower. Straight in front of you is this kitchenette with a sink and a cooktop and a fridge that divides the kitchen space to more cabinets and a trundle bed on casters that gets rolled under the cabinets to be a couch by day and rolled out to be a bed at night. And then a fold-out table. Really simple design. We're taking advantage of every square inch of space in this home, as well as our residents are. Beyond that, you have, the porch in the front and an outdoor storage closet to provide more storage space for our residents. Inside, this is what you can expect. We clear coat plywood. All of the lumber on our block homes comes from Sustainable Northwest Woods. They're in Portland, Oregon. They're one of the only wood and lumber yards that manufactures and maintains the FSC Forest Stewardship Council chain of custody. We are building block homes to the highest green standard, and we want to make sure that wherever the lumber is being sourced from is being done so sustainably. And so yeah, basically inside of a block home, you'll see clear coated plywood that's sustainably sourced. The cabinets are built out of Europly, which is sourced from Columbia Forest Products. It already comes pre-finished, so it's a really great product for us. And yeah, this is the basic interior of the home. The other one main ingredient, obviously, are the people willing to host one of these block homes in their backyard. And they're some of the most beautiful people you'd ever meet that make volunteering their backyard seem like such a simple act of compassion. And they range from single grandmothers to young families with children. Yeah, just some of the most beautiful people you'd ever meet. They don't get any net benefit out of this situation. They don't get any property tax deductions or benefits from the government. We piggyback on all their utilities. Facing Homelessness pays for them. One thing I didn't mention about the home is that we put 10 solar panels on them. And so the hosts don't have to pay for electricity because we're actually producing more electricity than we're consuming. And then the cost for water and sewer is about $1 a day. And Facing Homelessness pays for that sometimes, but a lot of the hosts volunteer to do that. The other huge part of our block homes, obviously, are the people living in them. We have 11 homes built to date. We have 10 completed. We're in the middle of construction of our 11th one. And it was just within 2020 that we finally got 10 residents all living in block homes. And yeah, we're learning a lot as we now have people living in block homes. And they're really becoming the compass and guide to this project. Obviously, all the work we do, if our residents aren't having, good experiences, it wouldn't mean anything. But we're really proud to share that, through our 4 years of existence, the Block Project was started in 2017. That none of our residents have returned to homelessness, and that's 12 different residents that have lived in our 10 block homes. So we're really proud of that, being that, yeah, this is such a radical and new idea, and we're doing a lot of things that's never been done before. And then obviously a huge aspect of the Block Project is community. Community builds these homes, Habitat for Humanity style, but it doesn't just go from, they don't just provide sweat to build the block homes. They actually, most of our money funding the block homes actually comes from private donations. We definitely get some grants and we got a little bit of government money, but over 90% of funding of the Block Project came from community members and private donations. Yeah, beyond the labor, obviously I shared that they're providing continued engagement and companionship to our residents once they move into a block home. So this is our shop down in Georgetown. It's really close to the Duwamish River off of 8th and Marginal. Yeah, we're so excited about this place. It's been open. We moved into this place in February 2020, just before the pandemic. And we outfitted this shop so that anyone without prior building experience can come work on building block homes. And we're building block homes with volunteers with better precision and quality than we had when we were hiring high-end carpenter or general contractors like Schultz Miller or Dow Built. It's really incredible what volunteers can accomplish inside the shop. So this next slide, you can see a little bit of what you might anticipate in the shop. What you see here is a handful of volunteers putting Havelock wool insulation in the cavity of our walls. Havelock wool is literally sheep's wool, and it's a great product. It has lots of good thermal properties, but most of all, you wouldn't normally, in a non-COVID year, see people wearing face masks. You can rub this product on your face and don't have to deal with formaldehydes or itchy fiberglass. It's a great product, and it captures carbon versus creating carbon when it's manufactured. So anyways, what you see behind those people is a stack of jigs. And basically a jig is a framing table that only allows certain pieces that have to be cut the right way in order for it to actually fit. And yeah, we have really amazing documentation like Lego building or like IKEA furniture building that takes volunteers step by step through the process where they don't even have to think. They just have to look at some pictures to understand how to put these modules, which are basically insulated panels, together. This is an example of the documentation I'm talking about. And here you get to see a little bit of the sequence of actually putting the home together. And over to the left, you can see how we lay out our foundation. And we're using diamond piers, which are amazing. Basically, they're these concrete blocks that have 4 holes at 45-degree angles. And we pile drive with a jackhammer a 1-inch steel galvanized conduit or pipe 3.5 feet into the ground at 45 degrees in 4 different locations of each pier block. We have 10 pier blocks for the foundation of the block home. And what I love about it is instead of digging a yard of dirt out of the ground, putting in forms and mixing a yard of concrete, we just place these 10 piers and jackhammer the pins or the steel pipe into the ground, and it takes half a day instead of a day and a half. And it doesn't disturb the water table beneath the ground, and it's easily removable. I'll talk more about that in a little bit, but being that I'll just talk about it now. Block homes, being that we don't own the land, it's only a matter of time that our hosts are going to want to have a changing life circumstance. And as we build more and more of these homes, it's only inevitable that one of our hosts won't be able to have a block home in their backyard to house, someone unhoused. And so we've designed these homes so that we can take them apart. And the reason they come together so easily by volunteers is because we've thought through how to take them apart and salvage almost 100% of all building materials outside of the site utilities. We can preserve and salvage almost 100% of the building materials and move it from one site to the next and deconstruct it in only 2 days. So yeah, here in the middle side, you can see how these modules, the floors, click together, slide in together, and then get screwed down together. And then you can see over on the right how, yeah, some of the siding, the rain screen siding gets hung on it. But we have really great documentation for the whole thing. So yeah, this is like the first slide I showed. This is our 10th block home. Not much of a difference between our older homes that I showed earlier, except for this rain screen siding, which is made out of juniper. We really like this product because it lasts longer than cedar, and it's choking out biodiversity where we are harvesting it out of Eastern Oregon. And so it has a couple benefits. One, it's durability. And then 2, it's allowing for greater biodiversity where it's being harvested. So it's just another example of how we're trying to thoughtfully select all materials that go into a block home. And while we're trying to create some good here, we're doing our best to make sure that harm isn't being created around other parts of the world where there's damaging manufacturing processes that are harmful to environments where they're actually being manufactured. This is our 9th block home, and this is the older design with the sheet metal siding, and it is not deconstructible. This is a very unique home for us, though, because it allowed us, and it was our first home that allowed us to accomplish the Living Building Challenge certification. Back here in the corner, you might be able to see in the center of the screen this 1,500-gallon cistern. This is the first potable rainwater harvesting system that's legal here in King County. We piloted a rainwater harvesting collection system program with King County Public Health. And yeah, all the rainwater is being collected from the roof, fed into this 1,500-gallon cistern, and then being pumped and filtered to provide water to the shower and to the sink. We have a composting toilet here. And yeah, so far it's going pretty well. Any questions so far? I'm going to talk about kind of like the 5 core elements of what we think is most important about the block project. But yeah, I'd like to invite questions at this point.
You just answered some.
All right.
Yeah. Speaking of the allowed in King County, what have you had any issues with permitting and such from the cities?
No, yeah, we've got the beauty of building the same thing all the time is we have a standard plan. And so the city only has to review the zoning of our block homes or the site plan for zoning purposes. We also get expedited review. So as soon as someone misses their intake date, we fall in line for a permit. And so we're getting permits within 2 to 4 months, which is a lot better than other people in Seattle. But that's the benefit of having a standard plan and taking care of, you know, a pretty urgent situation. That's been a declared crisis in the city for over 6 years now.
What's your biggest I don't know, hold up or obstacle to scaling up to many more?
Yeah, thank you. When we first launched the project, the first thing that was us choking was obvious. It was construction. But now with the shop, the block shop and this new process, we can honestly build a block home a week out of the shop. Our biggest constraint at this point is finding more people that are willing to have one in their backyard, and then money. What's been beautiful about the block project is we've never had to do any outward reach or marketing to find people who want one in their backyard. They've all reached out to us. We've never reached outward, and this is going to be the first year where we actually start a host recruitment campaign. We're going to try to, out of our 2,000 volunteers and our giant community of partners, we're going to launch a campaign where people can volunteer to become an ambassador and reach out within their networks to find people that are willing to have one in their backyard and spread the word about the block project. Really hopeful for how that may turn out. So yeah, it comes down to funding, it comes down to hosts. I think we have a pretty complete business plan. If we have a bunch of hosts, that there's going to be philanthropy and people willing to put money towards this project, because we are building housing with community, and this housing is supported by community in every way, cheaper than the market rate by a ton. Low-income housing in Seattle has an entry point price of $330,000 a unit. A block home costs $75,000. The average DADU, detached accessory dwelling unit development in Seattle, is $180,000. So we're really crushing it. We're building the most sustainable homes, green homes, and because of our clever use of community labor and free land, yeah, we're building homes that are just ridiculously cheaper than any other solution out there. What I also like to talk about is, you know, this unhoused crisis that we have here in Seattle is going to stay for a long time until we can have some radical ideas and solutions to change it. The median price of a home, as you may know, in Seattle is $800,000, and 3/4 of Seattle's land is zoned for single family zoning. So they're right in our zoning policies is pretty exclusive towards only people that have a lot of money. What's beautiful about the block project is we're building these low income houses that are permanent in that 75% of available land, which fosters, you know, cross-class integration and inclusion that no other low-income housing solution can offer right now. So that was a long ramble to say, if we can find a bunch of hosts, I think we'll find it pretty easy to say, hey, people with money like that care about this unhoused crisis, we need your support.
Yep. For that 75,000 to build, how much of it do you have to come up with before you can start building? Does that have to be in hand?
Yeah, we have to come up with $75,000 in order to build a block home. We've been getting lots of in-kind contributions. I have like an electrician working for free in a block home, but that $75,000 includes their in-kind value. It's the total cost. If you had to go build a block home, it would cost $75,000.
Mhm. Have you had to deal with a huge jump in lumber prices?
It's definitely affected it, and it includes the extra cost. Hopefully those drop, but yeah, it definitely added a solid premium to it.
Yeah. Oh, building the interior design is quite nice. I like the
Thank
use
you.
of the plywood.
So I've probably spoken to our 5 core values quite a bit. Affordable, I just talked about how affordable the Block Project is compared to other low-income housing solutions, but also compared to DADU, traditional developments. It's really hard to find any that are under 6 figures, and the average cost is $180,000. Block homes are sustainable, obviously, through accomplishing the Living Building Challenge, and supported wide and far. We leverage community support in every aspect of this project that we possibly can. I talked about the integrated aspects that we're building, housing in opportunity-rich neighborhoods, fostering cross-class inclusion, and then dignified. We want to build beautiful homes, and we don't only just build homes and place them in people's backyards, but we landscape them, and we usually spend about $2,000 on plants, install flagstone, and pavers to build beautiful patios and settings that are biophilic, and yeah, really make the home feel way more dignified and intentional than just a shed in your backyard. I just want to throw this slide out there. Because of our modular design, it won't take much creativity to build a bigger block home, but we'll need more resources to do that. But we'd be really excited to perhaps add a bedroom and just add a few panels so that a couple could live in a block home, but we'll need bigger properties and we'll need more funds to do that. And so this is my last slide, and I just welcome more questions. It looks like more people have maybe jumped in the room. No, it's just down to us 3.
Yeah, people usually spend 20 or 30 minutes and then jump to another room to get to all
Gotcha.
room. So hopefully you'll get more folks showing up.
If you have more questions, I should probably put my email on this slide. Feel free to follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll put it in the chat link, my email address.
We find you if we want to volunteer sometime down at the shop.
Yes. I would love that. Let's see. How do I make sure it's just the participants? I guess it's everyone in this meeting. Did you see that in the chat? My email address?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll add my email address. Damn it. All right. Any other questions, Greg? I got Dean in the room, and I'd like to run him through.
Thank you. I'll touch base on email, I guess. All right.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Dean. How are you?
Good.
Where are you coming from in the Pacific Northwest?
Right now I live in Port Orchard. But back when I first started doing the Green Home Tour, I was in Seattle. Lived in Seattle forever. I know Tacoma pretty well. That's where you're at.
I'm in Seattle.
Oh, you are?
Yep. I'm in, personally myself, I live in Victory Heights, which is near Northgate.
Yep.
Well, welcome. Have you heard of Facing Homelessness or the Block Project before?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sweet. Well, here alongside me is George, and the company he works for, Mighty Energy Solutions, has partnered with the Block Project pretty much from the beginning. They provide radiant ceiling panels for our homes, which are an incredible product for us to use. Our homes are really well insulated, and the amount of heat that provides is super simple and efficient for us to use to provide heat in our homes. So Dean, I'm curious, how did you get to know about Facing Homelessness or the Block Project?
Well, I've been a long time Eco Building Guild member, and I created the Green Home Tour back in a million years ago,
All right.
2006 or something. So, you know, now I'm a little out of touch because I'm a little further away from all the action in Port Orchard, but been around for a long time.
Well, thank you for all you've done to get this thing built and going, Dean. We're really excited to be a part of it. And Northwest Eco Builders have been incredible supporters of the Block Project. I know that we've been in conversation with them for quite a few years, and I'm in charge of construction of the Block Project, and I've been in charge of building every single one. And I can tell you there are a lot of volunteers that have come through from the Northwest Eco Builders that have provided a ton of support when it was, more challenging to build block homes. That was super meaningful and really helped me get through building the first 10 block homes.
Yeah. So, how high is your ceiling?
Yeah, 8 feet.
And the radiant heating panel on the ceilings, right? For heat?
Yep.
How does that feel? Like, what's the real world of I'm always interested in ceiling panels. Sometimes like you can get a kind of a hot spot on the top of your head, but they work really well. So I'm trying to, what's it like to live with one?
Well, our residents say it feels like sunlight and it's warm, but obviously, it has some limitations. If you have cold feet, it's probably not your best solution, but I don't see there being any other solution for a block home for providing heat.
Yeah, I think there's a 250-watt panel in there,
Yep.
which speaks volumes to the tightness. I think Burns, you mentioned there's a heat recovery ventilation in there and everything. And
Yep, we use the latest E2.
I mean, if you remember back in the day, right, 100-watt light bulb. I mean, you're basically less than 3 100-watt light bulbs to heat the space. So,
What's the square footage?
The square footage of the home's 130 square feet interior, 230 overall. We have that porch and closet out front.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to build bigger block homes, but we'll have to be more picky about the properties in order to do that. And we'll need more resources to build bigger block homes. But we have a really sweet new modular design, Dean, that I could show you through a couple slides. This is the interior of the home. Not sure if you've seen it, but clear coat plywood, really simple. Here's the floor plan, really efficient use of space. Basically, shower and toilets to the left. Straight in front of you is a kitchenette with a cooktop and a sink, and to the right is a turtle bed on casters that rolls out to be a bed at night. Underneath the cabinets to be a couch by day. Wall-to-wall cabinets for optimal storage, and a pop-up table to also maximize floor space when it's not in use. This is a slide of the house. We're really amazing people. The floor right now is just it's just painted plywood. We're talking to Green Home Solutions right now, and we're going to probably put in a cork flooring because plenty of our residents now living in block homes have talked about wanting something a little bit more sophisticated than just painted plywood.
Yeah, you walk the paint off and not in fairly short order. Let's obviously it's well insulated. You're using probably like a Panasonic heat recovery ventilator, like a bathroom version.
It's a Lunos E2, 475 Building Solutions sells it. It's a bit overkill for the ventilation needed in the
Okay, it's
block
just
home.
big, yeah. So you have a little challenge of just scaling something down. I'd probably consider the Panasonic because it's meant for a bathroom.
Well, it works out great for us. We could go with the Ego, the Lunos Ego, but the problem is City of Seattle doesn't allow for supply and exhaust to be within 10 feet of each other.
Yeah, I know. You always
Basically,
run against all this.
the Lunos E2 is basically two Egos at different sides of the room, and it preserves like 90% of heat. So it works out great. And we used to have HRVs that went in the attic, and now we just have them going through the wall, which is so much better
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
dealing with ducting and climbing up in an attic to clean out a filter. I'm done with that. I think one of the most clever things about our homes, honestly, is how they're built, because we don't own the land where we're placing block homes, Dean.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time that we're going to have to move block homes because of changing life circumstances for the hosts.
Right.
And with our new design, they're actually deconstructible, and we can salvage 99% of the building when we take it apart to move it to the next place. And that's all made possible by the prefabrication operations that we launched at the block shop just last year. And here you can see volunteers putting Havelock wool insulation inside of a wall module, which is basically an insulated panel. We have 1-inch rigid insulation strips on the inside of the wall so that we provide continuous insulation and no thermal bridges in the walls. We have continuous insulation in the ceiling, and then the flooring also has the Havelock wool. We use Intello a smart vapor barrier.
Mhm.
And we use gaskets so that as these modules click together, that we maintain that airtight integrity of that's needed to make the vapor membrane useful. Yeah, basically through the clever use of jigs, which is standing behind the volunteers here, we're able to build modules that allow the block home to be built and erected on site in only 4 days, with cabinets hung on the inside to finished walls on the inside to having the siding hung on the outside and a roof over the head. We're getting that done in 4 days, a process that used to take general contractors 4 weeks with our old model. And we have very intuitive documentation, kind of like IKEA furniture building and Lego building, giving you step-by-step documentation and process for volunteers to follow. And yeah, the modules
Nice.
just put together one by one, and this is the end product. We use juniper rain screen siding. It's got a lot of character to it, but it lasts longer than cedar, and it's also choking out plant life and biodiversity in Eastern Oregon where it's being harvested. And so we're a big fan of the product.
Yeah, it looks good. And I might try to use some of that.
We get it from Sustainable Northwest Woods. They're headquartered in Portland. But anyways, I'm rambling. This is our 9th block home. We have a rainwater harvesting system on this
Wow.
home. It's the first of its kind in King County that actually uses it for potable water. We had to open up a pilot program with King
Wow.
County Public Health to get this thing going. But yeah, we use a pump and a filtration system. It provides potable water to the shower and the sink, and we have a compost toilet here.
And the filtration system, it looks like it's on top of the tank, which I've never seen before.
So on top of that tank, that's just a screen for preventing leaks and
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see.
the filtration system is actually inside of this closet, this exterior
okay.
closet, and it's got 2 mechanical cartridges and then a UV bulb to just overkill, make sure there's no contamination in the water.
What kind of cartridge?
It's like Pentac. I don't know. It's just like if you've replaced cartridges in your hot tub, it's just 2 paper cartridges like that. And then yeah, and those are the primary means of filtering the water, and then it goes to the UV bulb last.
I mean, I guess it's rainwater, so it's not exactly like it's already been through a
Yeah.
filtration of being evaporated.
As long as it's not September of 2020.
When you have smoke,
Yeah.
really makes that pretty acidic.
Yeah.
Like,
But we passed our water test. We submitted a water test in October of 2020, right after all that activity and smoke in the air. So the filters do a pretty damn good job.
Cool.
On the upside, any particulate comes out of smoke is by water cleaning standards is humongous particles, as opposed to like chemicals.
Right.
That looks cool. Looks really cool.
Yeah, that's our old design. It had sheet metal siding. We now have that juniper, and those first 9 homes are not deconstructible. This is just a simple graphic showing, because of our modular design, all we have to do is add a couple wall and floor panels, and we can make it bigger to suit another bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
We'll need bigger properties and more money to do that. Yeah, we just got clearance to sell block homes too. So really curious to see how that might play out in the market.
Well, we definitely have a buzz. So, I mean, to say the tiny house space has got a lot of buzz. It usually is. The romance is over when the price comes in.
Yeah, so DADU developments in Seattle cost $180,000 on average.
Right.
We're building them for $75,000. Obviously, the cost would be a bit different for other folks to buy the kit of parts from us and put it together themselves. But that
Mhm.
75 grand for us includes 10 solar panels. It includes all the labor. It includes the permit, includes the foundation.
Pretty low.
Thing.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really proud of it.
How you got an expectation of how much you might get out there in 2021?
Yep, we've got a fundraiser on Thursday to raise the amount of money needed to build 5 this year. So yeah, we're at block home. We're in the middle of constructing block home 11, and our goal is to get to 15 by the end of this year. And pretty much going forward, this project's going to grow at the pace that community can provide. And at its current form, most of our donations come from private donors and community. And so, yeah, we're going to be running a host recruitment campaign this year, which will be the first time we've ever done that. We've never had to reach outward to recruit hosts, and we're really hopeful for how it might play out with a little bit of a marketing campaign run grassroots style by all of our ambassadors and closest partners, promoting the project. I think if we're able to build a solid backlog of hosts, we should be able to find funding for this project, because low-income housing in Seattle has a going rate of $330,000 a unit. Ours are done at $75,000. And whereas those other units at $330,000 are built in zoning that is suitable for low-income housing, our homes are built in single-family zoned neighborhoods, which is 75% of land across Seattle, where the average price of a home is $800,000. So our solution is really unique because it places those that don't have in neighborhoods that have that are opportunity rich, and it fosters, cross-class integration and inclusion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. Well, good for you. I'm impressed. It's a good project and a good looking structure.
Thank you. Yeah. It's a gift and a privilege to be a part of it and build all the block homes. Seattle needs this solution to thrive. because it involves everyone. And yeah, that's what Facing Homelessness's mission is all about. Is it's all about proximity. We don't gain anything by staying removed from an issue, and when we get involved in community, we can make miracles happen, kind of like what the Block Project is in my mind.
Yeah, I think it was about 2 years ago. 10 Penny Studio fostered a little event for tiny houses. It was like a kind of like an open house on tiny houses, but it was, like a convention, but on the micro scale, and they were kind of overwhelmed. Did you happen to go to that? It was in Columbia City.
No, I didn't. I'm aware of 10 Penny though. They do cool work.
Yeah, I work with them here and there. They got this little, used to be a church, very small little church, and it's turned into like a meeting hall, and they got that set up for this little convention. Had the idea of, maybe 10, 15 different people set up tables, and there were so many people in there that it was completely overwhelmed. They were unable to, you couldn't talk, they were supposed to have breakout meetings, and we had to like go walk out into the park to have them because there's just so many people in there. It was loud, and I think they thought it was, I think they underestimated the popularity of tiny houses, and that, and the fact that probably just, getting a cheap place to have a little convention. But man, there was hundreds of people in a place that could just barely stand them.
Yeah.
It's been popular a very long time. I mean, the beginning of trying to put, small livable structures in the backyard, the city fought that. It was very difficult. It seemed like take nearly 10 years to get them to accept it. And when they did, they only accepted it in certain neighborhoods as a pilot. And it's kind of, now it feels like it's coming into fruition.
Well, yeah, the new ordinance that passed in 2019 definitely helped us. We had quite a few hosts that we wouldn't have been able to pursue should that have ordinance not passed. But where it helped us most was you used to not be able to have ADUs and DADUs. Now you can have both in Seattle, where you have, a second kitchen in your main unit, and then also have a detached unit. That helped us out probably more than anything else.
Because the people that were open to it were already doing what they could, and I get that.
Yep.
This for a long time. I mean, I don't know, the city didn't really talk about it, but at the end of the day, it was because you're kind of turning residential properties into duplexes, and that has, the NIMBY thing, not in my backyard. The neighbors get upset about that because it's effectively kind of skirting the single family home idea. So
it's going to be a challenging cultural value to break. Like I said, the average price of a home is $800,000 in Seattle, and we've lost 112,000 affordable units in the past decade, all the while having 125,000 new people move to this city. It's had a profound effect on people living unhoused, and we're especially seeing it after a year of COVID, where there's a 50% increase in tents you see out in neighborhoods. And the chance to be a NIMBY in regards to homelessness is over, because whether or not you like it, it's in your backyard. And so we need lots of DADU solutions. We need lots of urban density solutions. The challenge is 75% of land in Seattle is zoned single family. And no one wants a 5-story, high rise in their neighborhood, but I don't see any other solution to taking care of all the housing that's actually needed here in Seattle.
Yeah, it seems like the city's plan, again, I don't really mean to say it's a plan, but the sort of the path would be to build these little micro villages and then get people a little more used to it, sort of like the tip of the spear. So there, have you seen like the map where all the little villages are kind of expanding zoning? You know, they kind of pop the little village in, so it kind of creates a denser urban pocket, and they sort of sprinkle them around, and then they're going to just have those pockets spread out, and kind of get people used to it. But you know, the funny thing is for all this, sometimes I just like to break it down to highly simple terms, because it's really, human nature is actually not that complicated when you get a broad enough perspective. But a lot of the argument people would have against all the spreading out of datas and ADUs, it comes down to parking. The streets are full of cars. And so they go, well, if there's more people over there, then there's going to be more cars on the street. And I can't, you know, Seattle largely is not a city that has garages. You know, only those homes built in 55, 53 to 60, late 60s are, you know, commonly have garages. And then of course, all the new construction that has just recently popped up. But all those homes, you know, half the homes are built in early 1900s. And, you know, if they had a garage, it was capable of putting a cart and buggy in it, not a car. That means almost all the old Seattleites that have an old home are parking on the street, unless you had a mansion version of a 2008 Craftsman, which there's only a few neighborhoods that even have those in Seattle. So they're parking on the street. Well, when was the last time you drove down a Seattle residential neighborhood street? It's pretty much wall-to-wall cars.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's how neighbors interact with each other. You know, bouncing in each other's cars along the street. It's one of the things they don't want to see is more. Well, how do you solve that? You know, you get rid of the cars, then suddenly there's room for more people.
Well, you know, one of the things too that they find out obviously is you provide more lanes on the highway or space for the cars, and you get more cars. So the counter idea is that if it becomes more and more inconvenient to have a car,
right,
then people will find alternatives. And
that wave that started happening by method or circumstance with the rise of you know, all these recent transportation things like Uber and millennials that don't want cars and micro housing and all this all coming together. But you know, oddly enough, until there was starting to have that, well, it's very difficult to get stuff like this to happen.
I could talk about this stuff for a while. We've got a couple of people in the room that we've been talking to.
I have to go too, because I just realized that, you know, I have to do my start and finish my taxes today.
Yeah.
Good luck, Dean. It was nice talking to you. Nice meeting you.
You too.
Good to see you, Dean.
Hi, Michelle and Alicia. I don't know if you're there or if you had to wander away for a break, but welcome. We got a new person.
Yeah, we got Jennifer and Alicia and Michelle.
Alicia and Michelle, are you there? If you could unmute yourself and say hello, I'd be happy to start talking about the Block Project and yeah, just to hear more about what you'd like to see.
So Michelle says from her chat that she's here.
Okay, cool.
Also Alicia. So everybody's here, I guess.
All right. Has anyone, feel free to unmute yourself and speak up, but the chat box is totally fine with me. Have any of you heard about facing homelessness or the Block Project before? I'd like to kind of gauge a little bit about how much I should background and overview I should provide.
So,
Okay. Well, if you've looked it up, that's all good. New. All right. So I'll just try to give you the overview as quickly as I can. Facing Homelessness was started back in 2010 by an architect named Rex Holbein. He had an office along the Fremont Canal and was finding that the people he was meeting outside his architecture office wasn't living up to the stereotypes that people have of the unhoused. And so he started this Facebook page sharing stories of people living outside with these beautiful black and white photos of them looking straight at the camera. And if Rex had to run Facing Homelessness all on his own initiative, it would have died really quickly. But what he quickly found was there's a lot of compassionate community members in Seattle that want to do something about this community crisis of homelessness. And that Facebook page now has 50,000 followers on Facebook, all about dismantling the negative stereotypes that we have of people living outside and just simply trying to share their humanity. This idea from an architect kind of started building and moving in different directions and evolving as years went by. And the mission of Facing Homelessness is to get people to come closer and use their passions and skills towards the effort of ending homelessness. Being that he is an architect, you can maybe think about where he was putting his passions towards the effort of ending homelessness after starting Facing Homelessness after a few years. That was kind of how the Block Project became, the seed of the Block Project was cast and sprouted. Him and his daughter founded the Block Project and is the ultimate expression of Facing Homelessness's idea of coming closer, where we're inviting the unhoused to become our neighbors across backyards all throughout Seattle. We've built 10 homes to date, and literally community members across the city have said yes in my backyard 15 times now. We're going to build 5 more this year. And people are volunteering their backyards for free for community to build and place a block home in their backyard and welcome someone off the streets and into their backyard. It's a radical model that is unprecedented across this country. The homeowners get no benefit other than becoming a part of this incredible, compassionate community. The homes piggyback utilities onto the hosts' utilities. However, we do put 10 solar panels in the block home, which offsets the electrical costs. We write a 5-year ground use agreement, giving us the rights to place the block home. Facing Homelessness owns the block home itself. The residents living in the block homes have case managers from 5 other case management agencies and provide continued support for the residents that move into the block home. Our volunteer community not only builds the block homes and provides us the land, they also provide continued support and engagement with our residents in our companionship program. They're meeting with our residents on a weekly basis to make them feel more engaged and connected, which has been so vital over this past year of the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's kind of a big and quick overview. Here in this picture is our 10th block home in Capitol Hill. This year, we're building 5 new block homes in the Mount Baker neighborhood, Crown Hill, Magnolia, West Seattle, and there's one more that I'm forgetting. But yeah, this project spans the Seattle map from Rainier View to Crown Hill. And yeah, this is permanent low-income housing and is the most efficient solution that's out there when it comes to housing. And I'll talk more about that at length here in a moment. So I'll talk about the big ingredients of the block homes. You're probably very curious, since you're here at the Northwest Green Home Tour, to learn a little bit more about the home itself. It's 230 square feet. In this slide, you can see the floor plan, and down to on the left side is a picture of our 7th block home. It's another one in Crown Hill. It's 230 square feet overall, yet it's only 130 square feet on the interior. If you can imagine 4 sheets of plywood laid down on the floor, that's basically the size of a block home. It's a very efficient use of space, however. Upon entering the home, to the left, you can find the bathroom with the toilet and shower. Straight ahead of you is the kitchenette with a cooktop and a sink, some upper cabinets, and to the right are more cabinets, a mini fridge, as well as a trundle bed on casters that operates as a couch by day, rolls underneath, and rolls out to be a bed at night, and then a fold-up table that helps maximize the amount of floor space. This is a slide of the interior. We use clear coat plywood. I love the look and aesthetic of it. It also eliminates a lot of nasty dust and things that you would see with drywall. Our homes are deconstructible, and so drywall would just never be a good solution for us. And the clear coat plywood aesthetic adds a lot of warmth to the room. All the heat is provided via a radiant ceiling panel manufactured by Ducoterra and provided to us through our amazing partners, Mighty Energy Solutions. Our homes are really thermally efficient with continuous insulation in the walls and the ceilings. They're better than Seattle minimum code, and our homes are airtight. And so the thermal efficiency of these homes is incredible. In addition, we have triple paned windows and doors. So yeah, really thermally efficient homes that are designed to passive house design standards. And we're also accomplishing the Living Building Challenge with our homes, which is the most green, rigorous standard there is in the built environment. So outside of the home, the major ingredient that makes this project possible is obviously the people that are willing to have one in their backyard. And they're the most beautiful people that make saying yes in my backyard seem like such a simple act of compassion, and range from single grandmothers to young families with children. They're really heart and soul of this project, I'd say, next to our residents who are living in the block homes. We're really proud to say that after having 10 homes built, that we've had 12 residents live in our block homes. And being a new initiative that's super radical, we're really proud of the fact that not a single one of them has returned to homelessness. And this operation's been ongoing for 4 years now. But now that we have a bunch of residents living in block homes, we're kind of getting past the pilot stage of this project and are doing everything we can to move around what's going to make the residents' life more successful. The last ingredient is obviously community. Community builds these homes. They volunteer the land. They provide companionship to our residents. They're really the heart and soul of this project. And this project all about engaging community into the effort of ending homelessness. We don't call homelessness a homelessness crisis. We call it a community crisis. I personally think the fact of all the people we see living outside is, to me, the canary in the gold mine. It's really a symptom of society at large, showing that we're really not taking care of each other. And so that's why Facing Homelessness proposes that we can't be serious about any solution around homelessness unless community is a part of that picture. Really excited about the block shop. We opened it in February. We opened it in June last year. We moved into this space in February, and it took us about 4 months for it to get outfitted. We have a new design that we call version 1.1, and basically it is entirely prefabricated here at the shop and is then assembled on site. The homes are designed to be modular, which means that basically the home is built in a prefabricated in a bunch of different components that are like structural insulated panels that click together on site. Older block homes used to take general contractors 4 weeks at best to put together. With community and with our advancements in prefabrication operations at the block shop, we're putting homes together in 4 days, a huge improvement. And we reduced our costs by 40%. We're building new block homes, 3 of them for the previous price of 2. I'll take you inside the block shop with the next slide, but basically you can anticipate something like this where you'll be building these modules, which are basically insulated panels. Here you can see volunteers putting Havelock wool insulation in a wall module. The Havelock wool is literally sheep's wool, and it captures carbon and does not contain any formaldehydes or create carbon as it's manufactured like lots of other insulation products do. Like I said, the block project is accomplishing living building challenge. And we've thoughtfully selected every single material down to the 100th of a percent of what goes into the block home to make sure that these homes are not only healthy and built to last, but that they're actually not creating harm where they're being where the parts are being manufactured across the world. We've gone completely upstream to the manufacturers to understand the impact to the environment of everything that goes into a block home. Because if we're going to be serious about restoring community, a key aspect of the block project is, can we truly restore community if we're not taking into consideration the environment? Our answer was obvious no. So here at the block shop, we have volunteers fueling this project by not only providing the land, but actually building the homes themselves. This wouldn't be possible if we didn't have really clear documentation about every step, every screw, every 16th of an inch of a block home is accounted for in very clear documentation that is like building IKEA furniture, but better, more like Lego building, I would say. And that's the net result. This is the new design, which we call version 1.1. The old design, you would see sheet metal as siding. The new design, we have juniper rain screen siding. Again, juniper, great product. We're thoughtfully selected that. It lasts longer than cedar. It's a super durable product. And we're getting out of Eastern Oregon, where it's currently choking out plant life. And by the harvesting of it, we're encouraging biodiversity that's needed for the more native plants where it's being harvested. I just want to throw this one out there. This is the older design, but this is our 9th block home, and it was our first living building challenge home. This one's really unique because it actually has a rainwater harvesting collection system that we're using for potable water. It is providing potable water to the shower and the sink through a filtration system and a pump, and all the rainwater on the roof is being fed into that 1,500-gallon cistern that is back there in the center of the picture. So 5 core elements of the block project we love to celebrate. For one, it's affordable. Each home is $75,000, which is significant because the average detached accessory dwelling unit development costs $180,000 in Seattle. Ours is less than half of that. Also comparable to other permanent low-income housing solutions, it costs $330,000 and takes several years to develop one unit of low-income housing here in Seattle. Our homes are less than a quarter of that cost, and we're building these homes in opportunity-rich neighborhoods, fostering social inclusion and cross-class integration. So yeah, really affordable units. That's crushing the market from several different angles. All done on a grassroots nonprofit. Obviously, I talked about the sustainable aspects. Supported is a key aspect of the block project, as it's supported from a community, and we leverage community across every aspect we possibly can. I mentioned the integrated aspects. Most low-income housing models are, in other areas, not in your backyard. But the block project literally is in people's backyards. So it is distinct in that way. And then the last thing is dignified. We take pride in building beautiful homes, and we don't only just place a block home in someone's backyard, but we landscape the backyard and build a beautiful biophilic environment with lots of plants, flagstone patios, and pathways to make the block home feel really intentional. I feel like I'm talking too much, but here's the last slide before I go into questions. Really excited about the modular design is that all we have to do is add a couple panels, and we can make these block homes bigger and suitable for, say a couple, but we'll have to be more selective about what properties we can put them in, and we'll also need more resources, which is needed to grow this project. So with that, I welcome any questions. I also welcome you to check out our website and feel free to follow us on Facebook. We're always in need of donations.